While y'all was on IG, I was in the Mozzie. Drop top, I be in that foreign like I'm 5'. Hustled in your building, and you couldn't stop me. Like the homie Jim Jones, I be in the lobby. Tried to hit me 2 times with the shotty. Missed me, I dodged both shots. Kyrie, do it anywhere, having sex in the Bugatti. Nobody couldn't see us cause the windows got foggy. Lames try to rob me, it's gonna be a homie. I hope the president pardon me, I'm sorry. Used to move like Billy the Kid, don't try me. Young gun, I was a YG like Yo Gotti. This is the remix, I'm loading up 3 clips. I created the wave, now all of these rappers is C6. Like Juicy J, I tell you to your face, you can eat it. We could fight on the stage like both us in harmony. 3-6.
Color girl.
I would put a hook right here. Yeah, I'm gonna snap on y'all.
When you was on a Zoom call, I was at the pool hall, crew tall, big old nuts like blue balls. Who y'all? When I'm at the plug in the U-Haul, Draco like a pool stick. I don't need a pool ball, y'all lame, but that's nothing new to y'all. Don't care if I call around lunch, it's still a booty call. Trapping, I was touring ball. The pistol still my bodyguard. Brooklyn, Holly Grove, and Collie Park. I'm a star like the ceiling in the R&R. Got a couple restaurants, we can go bar for bar. We can go, party hard. I'll throw this paper tag at you from my foreign car. Pimping like a Molly Mall. Really no thought at all. I got this tip from wall to wall. I ain't been dabbing on the Molly, cause of fentanyl. You can ask these Cartier glasses, I done seen it all. Tony! Yeah.
While y'all was getting UE, I was still UP. On a little yachty with my amigos like I'm QC. With my little baby in peace, spinning some QT. I been in, yes, the only knives I heard is from QB. Used to shoot groupies, now I shoot movies. And try to stay away from the Mickey Mouses and Goofies. They rap like Lil Paps, yep, they low. I don't care what I say out my mouth, little boosie. I'm a New York City girl, keep a little oozy. And tell me, suck my a little juicy. I get busy. You can't do me, do I look like BBD? You hoochie poopy, thought I was gonna stop. Cause all of these horse pop shit work for Amazon. The way all of them throw boxes. All thoughts and everything I do. They Rolex, forget, protect, they all watch.
Yo, you don't really want it, fam. Make you do the running man and bag it. She gave was better in a color than everything I touch. I make it hotter till your color tan. Harder hearing, see the blick up, make it understand. Quicker see I blow the body sick about 100 grand. Still the type to rap 100 grand and couple rubber band. Tell you do the chill and send that message to his other man. So unfortunate that motion do not know the plan. While I pour the slicker, see the weapon in my overhand. Stepping like a giant while you had the contraband. Damn, holy and sacred like the motherland. Making movies you be watching over like it's on demand. They on fire till they hot and tired and I bought a fan. A lot of water pouring out their glands. No permission, I be in the kitchen with the pots and pans. Papa got them, let me pop and put them in the jam.
While y'all been on TikTok, I've been on Big Pac, Big Glock, it's Alfred Hitchcock, get your kid rock, silk shock, like P brother, tree lover, fell in love with a my just told me she love her, we run it, been running this shit, I can't feel my legs, brother got them birds, how my come and steal his eggs, I be on the million mids, I could put your doctor on, they ain't the white diamonds on, stones are like an octagon, can't stop. If you think not, the gun pop, the gun ring, you suck it like a ring pop. Had to do my thing, pap. Had to let the snub blap, riding till the wheels fall off. No hub cap, all this mud in my cup, and I don't need no mud flaps. I don't need no hug dap, I don't need no rug rat, so she gon' have to chug that. I'm like Tom Brady, still ballin' where the buck's at. Young money, young man, YM.
Y'all thought I was going to stop. Peace, 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 everybody. It is the guy with the bow tie checking in with you live for the first inaugural episode of 2022. How is everybody doing? I appreciate y'all for being here. Thank you to hashtag Team Live, hashtag Team Replay, however you consume the content. We appreciate it. And thank you to our sponsor again, StreamYard, for sponsoring the show. To my right, you've seen her, you've heard her, you've seen her smile on LinkedIn. Welcome the amazing Veronica Wosu. How you doing, Queen?
Hello, Daryl. Thank you so much for having me again.
No problem. You got bring the great energy, and you got the gold dust in the background, so we're starting off on a good note.
That's it.
Well, we are in a new year, still dealing with COVID, but there's a lot of stuff going on that I wanted to speak to the people about. So for the folks that don't know who you are, let them know your gift for the world and what you do.
So I help impactpreneurs transform their gold dust. That is their experience, you know, their skills, your passion, into a transformational signature online course with a master framework that makes them the specialist, that makes them the go-to person, right? So I help them create these signature courses so that they can leverage their impact, leverage their influence, and ultimately leverage their income.
Boom, I love it. We're leveraging everything. Awesome. Well, in that vein, obviously making a course requires you to feel a certain level about yourself or to have some growth potentially, just something to share with people. So the point of today was, your business grows when you grow. I've
Yes.
seen this personally, but I wanted to kind of hear from your vantage point because you have a very interesting story, a lot of stuff that happened throughout your adult years, formative years. But
Yes.
when did you kind of realize this notion of when you grow, your business grows?
Oh, gosh. Very quickly in the very beginning stages of my business, when nothing was
Okay.
happening, when crickets were just, being heard, nothing was happening online. I was this new coach. I had trained to become a coach. We had the skills. We were really talented at getting our results and really transforming lives. We had all those skills. When it came to running a business, I'm like, what? Where? How? How do we do this again?
Right.
So it was really understanding my value, what I had to
Mm.
offer. You know, I had 85 million hours of teaching experience, which I had buried
Mm.
behind me when I became this freshly baked coach. And yes, we were in our coaches. I trained with the coaching academy, and like, yeah, so I'm a coach. And that mindset needed to change, and it needed to change really fast. Because the question was, okay, what am I here to do? Really? Okay, unlock potential. But then I was like, what does that look like? How
Mm.
does that make me different? How am I going to make that into an art?
Yeah.
So asking those questions meant I had to go inward. And that's where the concept of the gold dust comes from.
Ah.
My experiences as a teacher, I'm a teacher. Core, like this is my a huge part of my whole adult life was teaching.
Mm.
So it was that I had buried behind, I had forgotten, and I had to bring forth. I also had a passion for really helping people, inspiring people. Naturally, as a teacher, that was my core.
Yeah.
So unearthing that made me realize that, I think I found my golden spot. The intersection between my experience,
Mm-hmm.
my passion, my skills. I'm going to help other people create courses so that they can show up with clarity, so that they can also have a voice and they can attract their a tribe of paying clients that really value their expertise. And they have an offer and they have a framework. Many experts don't have frameworks. And I mean a
Mm.
visual representation of their solution.
Right.
We are service-based business owners. We're selling words, we're selling promises.
Right.
But we, of course, know that there is a solution. We know there's a roadmap, but we don't have that packaged. So how are we selling something that is invisible? So really going back to the question, it meant what was my art, what was my value, and really having that confidence and showing up in all that glory.
Mm-hmm.
And also finding my style. That was something challenging because I thought, all right, I'm supposed to, look a certain way, sound a certain way. Um, you know, uh, People expect me to be this way and that way, and especially on LinkedIn, there's a
Yep.
certain way of showing up. No, all that went to the rubbish bin. No,
Yeah.
I broke all the
Agreed.
rules. I'm like, no, that's not who I am. I'm so many things. There's so many colors to me, so many shades of gray,
Mm.
you know? So, and I like showing different personas. I'm not just the official. I can look smart and official, but I can also show up, in my joggers, and I can also show up just as I am in different ways.
Well,
So
speaking of
understanding
showing up
that,
real quick, let me catch up with the audience real quick. They're showing us some love. We got Diana Parker
wow,
here representing in Florida. She said she can't wait for you to start. Good vibes. Thank you for that, Diana. We also have Maria Rouse. I talked to her a little earlier today. She just hopping on to say hi. Thank you, Maria, representing from California. And then we have a good friend of both of ours, Mr. Michael Ray, the Mr. Smiles himself.
hey,
Michael is like a walking smile. So if you ever
oh
want to see a
my,
walking smile, that is Michael Ray. He said, hell no, just always be you. There you go. Just be you.
yes,
And much to that point, my wife was talking about this. It's hard when you kind of switch parts of your life. Like, what do you do? Because you have, like you mentioned, experience. You had this teaching experience that you had already, and repackaging that. What made you realize that? Because a lot of people get that, they have experience and they're like, I need to start over again, but I'm not at that level. So they need to grow, but they had experience. But what kind of like is a catalyst that you've seen often with your clients that this thing helped them realize they got to grow more, or let them realize they already are grown and they just didn't know it?
Yes. Finding their true voice. Because ultimately we want to attract. We want to attract people to us. We want to build a bridge. Most of the people I work with, actually all of them, are experts in their fields. They have the qualifications, they have the experience. They've gotten results for themselves and for other people as well. And now they're doing it for themselves in a form of a business, in the form of a signature online course, packaging that. Sometimes the imposter creeps in, especially when we start comparing ourselves to other people who are seemingly successful out there and doing things that we want to do as well. The art is finding your own authentic voice, your unique voice. And that is quite a challenge because we've been programmed for so many years to be a certain way and not to be too much. And, oh, what are people going to think about you if you? So over the years, we've been programmed. So really coming out with your signature course, it's a signature, right? That means it's something unique to you. It has to have your soul. It has to have your essence. It has to have your character. The word, your messaging, the words you choose. It should not be anything else but you. And very often we tend to polish the word so that it sounds maybe more professional. That's not even us. It doesn't sound like us when we speak normally, or it doesn't sound like us when we're being our true selves. So I always encourage my clients to, when we're creating and crafting their messaging is everything. Oh boy.
Yeah.
To use their own voice, to use their own kind of character and bring an element of themselves into the way they write, into the way they craft their messaging. So by growing you essentially means being true to who you are, understanding that you have every single thing it takes, being fearlessly yourself without the fear of judgment. People are always going to judge. Whether you are yourself or not. You're not yourself, they judge. You're yourself, they judge. So wow, make peace with it. And understanding what actually your gold dust is. We've forgotten. Oh boy, Daryl, we have forgotten who we are. I like to see my experiences reconnecting with my inner child. She was the most curious. She learned very fast. She was very, she had good relationships with people. She could build relationships, with children. They're always, they're always open. They're always laughing. They're always kind of likable. So connecting with my inner child allowed me to grow. And when I started being my true self, that's when I started attracting clients. You see, they're not attracted to my program. They're not attracted to our programs. Nobody cares, really. That's secondary. They're connected to us. Some of my clients, you know what, when I asked them during our discovery calls, what really inspired you? And then you say, oh, I remember the first time I saw you. I loved the hair. I loved the afro. That's what the first thing, because I have my hair in all forms and shapes.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that dancing. I love the energy. And that's what connects. So if you're looking at growing yourself, it means identifying what makes you unique, your gold dust, and using that to show up without fear of what people are going to think. Because that's when you can attract your true tribe. And that's when my business started to grow. Because I was I was in a state of flow. But you must be very careful. You must have clarity on what you're doing, your offer, the structure, the solution. You must have confidence in that solution, the framework. Then you can have the confidence to speak your truth and yes, this is it, and this is how, and this is why.
You said something interesting earlier when you mentioned that people have this imposter where they're comparing to everybody else and kind of like, am I this good, am I that, and everything. And I think a big part of what your work is, people kind of have fear of, what if I make a course and nobody buys it? What if I make a course and nobody comes to it? Or is it that different than everybody else? But you just said something powerful, that it's unique, it's to you. We all have different ways to explain things. So even if there's 300 courses on cooking, there's always your way of cooking. I mean, that's one of the biggest industries you see. Personality drives it. It's not so much the technique; it's just personality. So for the people that are kind of looking for like, I want to grow myself, but I haven't found that goal does. I don't know what the goal does is. What's that journey like to figure out your signature? Like, is it asking your friends? Is it looking inside? Like, what's that journey like?
I like to call it the warrior spotlight. So it's an activity that we really look into your whole self, from, of course, your skills and your passion and your experience, but also your values and really your quirky kind of interests, things that, you secretly admire or not many people know about. So we have an eagle's eye perspective of all that sparkles. It's literally an activity that we have to do and put that all into this map and look at that map and say, wow, this is me. And we can now start connecting the dots on who we can serve and what kind of people we can serve. Because this is what I like, this is who I am, this is what I enjoy, and I'd love to work with similar people. I'd love to work with people who love dancing or who love philosophy or who are also kind of crazy and have this free spirit kind of attitude. So that means I have to show up with that energy, because that's the kind of energy I want to attract. And lo and behold, that's the kind of people I attract. Anybody that I work with, they have a secret craziness to them. Like, there's something that really wants to burst free because they see it within me. I want them to see it because I know that they have it within them. And that's why we work so well together, because I help them bring that forth.
So I think that's interesting for people to think about with the advent of social media. There's this conception people think you just post your offer and people buy it. Here's my course, click here to buy it. And maybe in the early days of Facebook, that was the way it worked. But now it's almost like you got to kind of lead them down the path of like, do you vibe with me? Yes. Do you match my temperament? Do you match everything? Because I think about that a lot where there's so many coaches and advisors and things like that. But when I think about my own kids going through therapy, they'll say, hey, this therapist I don't like. This one I do like. And it kind of shows it in real life, but you don't think about it with social media, that if I just show who I am, I'll attract the right people. I might want that certain client, but they're not like me. So how hard is it for your clients to kind of realize that maybe I have the wrong avatar, maybe I'm trying to attract the wrong kind of person, and get that straight with them? 'Cause I feel like that's a big issue you might deal with.
Absolutely, and that starts in the very beginning of the journey. Once we have our course idea or course topic kind of crafted in a solid manner, it's crafted, it's clear, we now need to test it. So we go through what I call the course topic validation game plan. It's literally a game plan that lasts for over a week, where you're really in the people's heads. You are doing your research, you're having interviews with potential clients that we have, of course, established. You're, running through surveys. You're having conversations behind the scenes. There's a whole game plan that you have to execute. And many courses really, or many course creators don't go through the validation phase. They lock themselves up and create the content and, hope that, okay, when I come out into the open, then it will sell. So an important part is validating, having a plan on how to validate your course topic through your secondary and primary research. So it's so important. And that fear, will it sell, will of course be less as you speak to actual potential clients. And you validate it. And I have a structured pool of questions that my clients can choose from and can also craft your own to ask potential clients. So not only are you testing the idea, you're actually warming the waters of potential clients. This is what I'm creating, right? Getting the people involved. You see, you're not going to sell anything if you don't have an audience. I don't care what anybody says out there. If you don't have an audience, you're not selling. And you can tap into somebody else's audience. Okay, there are JVs, joint ventures, and other ways. Great, but you need an audience. But you not only need an audience. You need an audience that sees you as authority, that has an affinity towards you, and that has an awareness. If you don't have the authority, if you don't have the affinity, if you don't have the awareness, they're not buying. I'm not sugarcoating anything. That's why it's
No, it's the
important
truth.
from the very, very beginning when you're creating a course to really build that authority through your content marketing strategy. Content that converts. They
So
say content is king. I say content is queen.
there you go. Got to put the V power on it. Well, let's dig into that a little bit. You mentioned a lot of research on your customer clientele, like researching your audience, which
Yes.
hopefully by this point a lot of people kind of understand market research is a thing you need to do. But the research on you, like how do you realize like I don't have the right credentials or not even credentials, but I'm not exuding the right energy or I'm not showing my truth. So what's some things people can do to research their person to figure out what is my goal does or what am I missing that's not being conveyed in my content?
Wow. So what's missing when I answered the question? Well, if what is exactly the question? If
Like
what? I didn't
basically,
get it.
we can research our clientele all day, but
Yeah.
sometimes people might reach out to you and say, "I want to start a course," and
Mm.
I don't know if I'm at the right level. I'm not grown enough. I haven't matured enough. So how do they identify the weaknesses for themselves that make somebody want to have a course for them? Because obviously we can get credentials and get certifications and all that kind of stuff, but that's not
So
what we're working on.
if you think you don't have the experience, or if you think you don't have anything to offer, um, then maybe you want to start with a boot camp or a mini course or something for £11 or something. No, listen, if you're creating a course, it's because you have the experience, at least 10 years plus or 5 years plus. If you
Okay.
come to me and say I don't have the experience, I have nothing, I don't believe that. And establishing what your experience is doing the warrior spotlight. I call it the power bank as well. The power bank is literally a bank of all your accomplishments and all your achievements, really specifically written out, so that we can identify which problems you have really overcome and what we can replicate. Because ultimately, what you're doing with your signature online course is that you're creating a blueprint of a success you've achieved, literally a blueprint of your success. So doing a power bank and creating a warrior spotlight will give us some form of eagle's eye perspective of what you're made of and what you can now replicate and teach. So working with people, they have experience, but now they have a challenge in packaging that. How do I package all those years? I have a client, he has 46 plus years of experience in, cleaning up business processes and making them squeaky clean. His name is Bruce. I'm sure maybe you know him, the blue guy in the blue shirt, right? He has so much experience. So now we needed to gain focus on exactly what we're doing. And that meant messaging. How do we articulate such a wealth of experience? It's like with such experts, the challenge is they struggle with
Yeah.
articulating it in a few words of what I do. I'm supposed to explain what I do in over 46 years in 1, 2 sentences. Like, how is that possible?
Right.
But it is. So that is a challenge. So answering your question, if somebody doesn't know what their goal thus is, they certainly know that they have the experience. They certainly have a calling. At least that's my ideal client. My ideal client is not somebody who doesn't have a calling. I work with people that are impactpreneurs. So they know they have something within themselves. The only struggle is now, okay, how do I unearth that and re-identify that? And then we do those activities, and then we do the deep dive coaching. I call it the ungrouping process, where it's
Okay.
from a teaching experience. It's a technique that we really ungroup like an onion. So your idea is an onion. And then we have to peel all those layers, the unnecessary ones, right, and get to the core, right? At least the one that is nice, round, and simple, clear, So it's really a process, a procedure, I would even say. It's
Okay.
not just I go and I ask you, okay, so what do you have authority in, or what do you want to create? Okay, let's create that. No, there's a deeper process to that to get to the core essence. And sometimes people realize that, oh, I thought I wanted to do this, but actually, no, this is what I want to do, right? And sometimes people come with an idea and then they think that they want something else, only to realize that actually, no, the first one was actually the best calling for me. I feel that I'm not aligned with this course idea. And some people make a mistake of running a course which they are not aligned with. And then the energy is not right. And then they're not showing up authentically. And then it's like they're wondering what's going on. It's important that you're aligned, because ultimately, when you're building those bridges through your content, when you're showing up with a real you using your voice, you cannot fake your passion. You can't fake, how you really feel about something.
Right. Which that leads me to something you're very open about your personal struggles with your family and stuff as relationships in the past and all that. And people often say that's not LinkedIn. You shouldn't do that on LinkedIn. But I'd venture to say that's probably gained you more business by being open and transparent. So the personal life, how much has that impacted your business once you got that house in order? Personal stuff kind of got figured out. How much did that really grow you professionally? Because people think those two don't marry together, but I think there's a big impact you had personally that actually helped your business too.
Okay. I have a personal kind of principle. If you're hiding your story, you're being quite selfish, because your story is an instrument. It's an instrument of inspiration. My story is not mine to own. My story is mine to share. Why should I own my story? Like, I as in own it and hide it and nobody needs to know about it. No, I experienced it, you see. I was the experiencer. I was the witness. I witnessed it. What does the witness do? The witness tells a story.
Yep.
From his or her perspective, and that's why each and every one of our stories are different. Yes, the event may have been similar. There are people who've been in pawnbroker shops whose businesses have gone bankrupt, just like mine. Those that had to start from scratch, from absolutely nothing, that had to sell their precious belongings because they didn't have anything to pay for the rent, or like there are many people who've gone through that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
But we all witnessed it differently, and that's where your voice is, how you experienced it. And that's why when we tell a story, we don't tell it, we show it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I love that. And that actually kind of gives agency to the fact of being real with people on. Because I mean, social media has a lot of fakeness to it. You can actually make you look a lot better than you are, but the realness is really what makes the money happen. Because people always think I gotta have the polished video and the perfect production, but really just showing up as you is the secret sauce.
And that goes back to your question, how does that grow your business? By sharing your stories. It's because you're building bridges. Literally. For people to cross over to you. They see likeness in you. What does that mean? They see themselves. They may be in a similar situation. They may have experienced something similar. If they haven't, maybe they will in the future. So by sharing your story, you're really building bridges, and that's what gets you business, because you share an experience. What happens? They experience, right? I call it the seed approach that I teach my clients. You show your story, you give an experience, you expand your energy, your reach, right? And only then do you deliver. SEED. And it all starts with sharing, giving the experience, expanding your reach so that you can deliver. And it all starts by sharing of yourself. What is relatable, what is relevant, what of course impacted your life and made you who you are today.
Mm-hmm.
So
this is a master class right here. You're breaking it all down, Veronica.
I feel it. Being yourself and growing yourself means being comfortable with sharing your story. I don't know how else to say that. It's that simple. Share your story, because who you are today didn't happen by chance.
Yeah.
The fact that I'm sitting here today and doing what I'm doing is not by chance. It didn't happen overnight.
Yep.
There were days of tears where the pillow was soaked with tears, and there were days of what am I gonna do with my life? Like shit, I got 2 kids and I need to take control, Veronica. Like you need to do something, and there's no going back. There's no safety net. And years of really finding your voice and who you are really. After all, we're always evolving. Who am I? And then again, showing up as who you are and being okay with the trolls. Being okay that you're going to repel some people, but embracing the idea that you will find your tribe. And remember, your tribe are not always all your clients. I don't believe that. My tribe is not my client. You're not necessarily my clients. There are people that will refer me There are people that will support me. They'll spread the word. They will help me. They will advise me. They will guide me. The tribe is not just about clients. It's not just about clients. Yes, you're
I'm
attracting
interested.
clients.
No, I was I'm interested. You're probably more fulfilled now that you've got a lot of that personal things worked out. I mean, there's going through the motions in your business because you know how to do it and the mechanics of it. But there's something totally different when you're like in flow, as you mentioned, when you feel good about it, and the business probably is more fun. I mean, I'm venturing to say you're at your funnest point in your business right now than 5 years ago.
Absolutely, yes. And that's why I dance so much, because I know when I dance, I get more business, because it's really frees my soul. It frees the energy blocks that I may have. And I know when I have energy blocks, I just know that the forces are just not working in alignment when I have an energy block. So I dance more, I free that block, and I, express that, and the day goes better. I have more ideas. I find a solution to whatever challenge I'm facing. So I dance, and when I dance, I'm in flow, and that's why I dance. Dancing is part of my business strategy. It's part of my self-care routine, which should be part of every business strategy, by the way.
That's great alignment. I think when you mentioned the repelling people, I'm sure when you first started making your content, people said, you can't do that on LinkedIn. And I remember going through a similar issue with, you're going to rap on LinkedIn? You can't do that. But it just feels good. And at the end of the day, if you don't like it, I really don't want to deal with you. Is kind of my thought process. If you don't like what I'm doing, that's okay. There's enough people out there that are okay with it that I can focus on them instead of getting everybody.
Yeah, that requires growth. That requires, acknowledging yourself worth, value, and your self-respect, and knowing who you are. So for me, business grows when you grow. Like, that's it. And when I say grow, of course, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, how you manage your emotions during challenging times, during adversity, that's really a huge piece of how you can succeed, or how you can, fall back.
Well,
So,
let's talk about success real quick for people that are going to newly start doing this. When they first
yeah.
launch a course or any venture you're coaching them on, how do you typically help them measure success? Because I would think when I first started, I would think if I don't have anybody buy it, it was a failure. If I had one person buy it, it was a failure. How do you set the expectation for people when they first start a new venture of what success is?
Look, it took me about 6 months when I started on LinkedIn about 5 years ago. When I started, like, okay, this LinkedIn thing, okay, my new business, how do I? It took me about 6 months before I got my first clients. Now we can shorten that period. So depending on the client, there are some clients that will get their first paying clients within 2 months, right? Creating a course. Some will get it 6 months after. It depends on how warmed up your audience is up to you, how much of authority, how much visibility you have, and ultimately, how much likeness you have, how much of your story you share. There are all these elements that play, because you can have all the ducks in the row, and it takes time to build the audience for the course. So with the clients, it's important that we establish, of course, the goals, but not to give up when the first cohort or your first launch doesn't reach the target.
Yeah.
We celebrate every single client when you're starting from scratch. Like, you need to celebrate everything, right? So I always look at it this way. Every master was once a disaster. I look at it this way. Some of the gurus, like Tony Robbins, I think I made a post today. Nobody came for one of his first events ever. Like, the whole Tony Robbins. We have all these stories of successful people. We see them with thousands of followers and people signing up, and we're blinded
Yep.
that they had to start from somewhere just like we did. So it's important to have that resilient mindset that I'm not here for the short term. I'm not here to play. I'm not here just to, hit and run. I'm here to stay. And I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm going to grow in my lane. I'm going to stay in the game. So the first launch, some will be more successful than others. When I say successful, okay, and how many people you sign up. But the fact that you even have a framework, you have a course
Yeah.
outline, you have now an offer. Now you can press the accelerator and you can double up, you can learn, tweak here, okay. With high performers, we just need a little tweak here, and then we go up. A little, because you're always learning, you're also observing what works, what doesn't work. But you have an asset that now you can leverage. So for me, when you stay in the game, there's no other way than to make it happen. And there's no one definition of success in this case. Right? The fact that some people have even found a tribe and they're growing that tribe is a huge thing for them. Right?
Yeah.
The fact that somebody had signed up their first 4 or 5 clients and had never done that in the beginning is something for them. And now has other opportunities opening up for her. So for me, there's no one definition of success. And that word should be more associated with a feeling than anything else. How are you feeling? And that's where growing you comes in. Because when you associate your self-worth with the number of people that sign up for your course, you're going down a very dangerous road.
See, that's the worry I worry about when you see somebody that has a course, they charge 10 grand for the course, or they have 50 people that sign up, and you just get into your head like, I can't do that. But I think about people that say, I want to write a book. I think success is just finishing the book, or even having the idea, or having the manuscript. I mean, there's so many people that say that, and it's just like, there's so many books out there, why would I write a book? Because nobody finishes them. So I mean, even if you just write one, that's success to me.
Look at it this way. Okay. We talk a lot about, you see a lot of these adverts, okay, they made 60K launches, they made all this K number of, this amount of money and so on. Do you know how many people they had on their email list before they launched? Do you know how many people they had warmed up before? Do you know how much they spent on the adverts? Do you know how much, like, you have no idea. And somebody who just has maybe 500 or 1,000 people on the email list, let 1% convert. Because that's actually the truth about online conversion. 3% max. Are people who have money in their hands ready to pay, I'm ready, 3%. Majority of people are still in the freebie kind of stage. They're still looking for what's free. 3%. So imagine somebody has an email list of 20,000. Are you good at maths? And 1%
600
or
people,
2%.
yep.
And they have a course for £5,000, for example, or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, you can hit your 5-6 figure very easily. So out of 20,000 people, 1% converted, and you hit your 6-figure or your 5-figure, whatever.
And that's the part we don't talk about in society enough. I think when you think about, I remember my wife asked me recently about playing sports, and I was like, I wanted to play basketball and be Michael Jordan when I was younger, but everybody wanted to do that. But that was the 1%. We were all chasing a job that 1% got. And it doesn't make sense that we think about things this way, like, oh, I want to be in the Hall of Fame for something. That's 1%. We don't talk about the 90% or the 99% that we need to talk to on a consistent basis to move to 1%. But that's the thing I worry about with the youth when they see all these social media posts about my new course just launching at 20,000 people and all that. But you're making a good point. What happened to make that happen? How much money was spent? So I love that you brought that up. And Summer had a comment for us real quick. She said, thanks for sharing these gems. Much appreciated. This dialogue was definitely needed. So thank you for that comment, Summer.
Yeah, thanks. So, when a client has, for example, 500 people on her list, and let's say 1% or 2%, or a few people sign up, like, that is a huge deal.
Yeah.
Because people that have 20,000 people on your list and 1% converts, like, listen, we are onto something huge. Stay in it, stick to it, rinse and repeat the process. Build your audience, build your authority, build your uniqueness, show up. You have everything in place. Now's the time to press accelerator and show up in all your glory. Unapologetically. And just do you. It's like, shit, ugh. Do you, because it's you that grows the business. It's you that is profitable, not the course. It's you. People are buying into you. People buy into me.
Yeah. I don't know a better way to end this. I don't know a better way to end this than that. That was perfect. But for the folks that want to learn more about you, obviously LinkedIn, you're on LinkedIn, but where are other places people can find more about your courses and your training?
Yeah, so of course my website, is it hyphen powercoaching.com. I'm on LinkedIn, of course, so that's my virtual office, literally. And of course, I'm also offering my 60-minute course audit. So if you have a course idea or if you're in the middle of creating a course and you're stuck, stuckness means that there are some fundamental things that you haven't established. Let's have that audited. And I'm having a selected few people that are really passionate about getting this out there and not sticking in that limbo of what next, am I doing this right, and being stuck, to have a course audit. So yes, I'm inviting those that are really passionate about making a difference in the world, specifically impactpreneurs, so that they get unstuck.
I
There's
love it.
no
And
need
I'm
to
real
be
quick.
stuck.
Shout out to my coworker Simone Woods Team Live. Thanks for jumping on here, Simone, and growing yourself with us. So, folks, please follow Veronica. Even if you just want to have some fun content, even if you're saying, "Hey, I'm never going to make a course, but I can refer her and tell people to get some positivity in their life." She always has positive posts on LinkedIn, whether it's video, picture, or text, but they're always positive. And in today's day and age, we need that because there is still a lot of bad stuff happening. But I appreciate what you're doing, Queen. Any other parting words before we get out of here?
Oh boy, the best way to grow your business is by growing you. Be yourself, right? Share your stories and share that gold dust of experience, of skills, and create a framework that you can really be the specialist in that field and stand out in that noise. Today, we need more people that stand out. So stand out.
Boom. From the Power Coach herself. Well, folks, thank you for our first episode of 2022. Please be safe. Please wear a mask and all that good stuff wherever you are in the world because this thing is not over with. But also grow yourself, whether it's for your business or just for the sake of growing yourself. Veronica mentioned earlier, we're all always evolving. I always think that we're all just grown children. It's kind of what I think about the way we are. We're just all big kids. So if you realize that, just find your areas and kind of grow that. We appreciate you. Please be safe, and we will catch you next time on Business with Benefits.